paddle starts in Bradford on Avon in Wiltshire at the Tithe Barn, which dates to the Middle Ages and definitely worth a poke around. The barn sits between the Kennet Avon canal and the River Avon. It's an 8-mile loop heading downstream on the River Avon to Dundas Aqueduct, where I'll take out and portage up to the Kennet Avon canal above and paddle back to Bradford on Avon. The put-in is at a shallow pool off the main river, reached through the grounds of the Tithe Barn opposite the Bradford on Avon Rowing Club. As it was a Saturday, there was a club meeting in progress, so the river was fairly crowded and busy for the first mile or so. Thankfully, it wasn't long till I found a glassy and uncrowded river again. Liquid Valium, I call it. A mile downriver is Avon Weir, just upriver from the aqueduct itself. What I'd give to live in one of those riverside cottages. What a view to wake up to every morning. I don't think I'd ever get tired of that. Being July, the river level is on the low side, so negotiating the weir is not an issue, apart from watching out for the slippery slime, which could unfoot you and result in you going arse over tit into the river below. Even after a couple of days' rain, the level can rise suddenly to make the weir a different proposition altogether. The obstacle created by the weir is actually a blessing in disguise for those who prefer a solitary experience on the river, as most club rowers turn back here and head back to the clubhouse. The flora on the river is in full growth now in midsummer. In places the reeds are really thick, spanning the entire width of the river, which makes for an interesting little shoot. Just after the Freshford Viaduct, the water levels were so low I had to get out and line the canoe for a short distance. The next obstacle on this route is the weir at Limpleystoke. It's a smaller affair than Avon, but just as steep. Not a bad spot for some lunch, so I opened the basket and whipped up a gourmet lunch, fried spam and noodles. Suitably fortified and refreshed, I paddled the last stretch of this route on the river down to the aqueduct at Dundas, where I decided to take out and portage up the steep steps to the canal for the return paddle back to Bradford on Avon. I'm always slightly reluctant to leave the river and get on the canal because it's so serene down here in the Avon Valley, and then you get up onto the Kennet Avon canal and it's like going up to the M5 on a busy weekend. Oh, perhaps I exaggerate, but it's you know, on a normal day you'll encounter narrow boats with stag parties and hen parties, and I mean, they're all like people out for a good time, but after this peace and serenity, it's a bit of a jolt. But anyway, it's been an absolutely beautiful morning paddling down through the Avon Valley.